Okay, so before we get started, let's make sure that we have everything that we need. I mean, you wouldn't go into a mine shaft without any torches, would you? Yeah, nobody wants that. So, to get started with making a server, first of all, you're going to need a copy of Minecraft. I know, shocking. You're going to need a computer to play Minecraft on, because we're going to be using the Java version of Minecraft, so ideally you want a PC. And you're going to need something to host Minecraft on. Now, in this case, we're talking about running Minecraft on a Linux server. Now, if you don't know what Linux is, don't panic. This guide is going to take you through everything that you'd need to know to get that server started. That being said, if you want to run your server locally on Windows, so on the same machine that you're playing the game on, then we do have a video just for that as well, and I'll link that just above. But if you're brave enough to carry on with running a Linux server, which is definitely the best way to run a Minecraft server, then stick with me. By the end of this video, we'll get you started. Now, when it comes to hosting your Minecraft server on another network, there are of course plenty of Minecraft server providers that will give you a fully built server with Minecraft already installed and ready to go. The problem though is they're going to charge you quite a lot for the experience. And yeah, it might be a little bit quicker, but you're really not getting your money's worth. Sometimes those servers have really low specs, or you're on a virtual machine that's carved into such a small part that you're not really getting the full Minecraft experience. Well, in this guide, I'm going to show you how you'd use a bare Linux server instead. That means you're going to get a blank server, which is going to be cheaper in the long run, and you're going to get much more performance for your money. The only difference is you'll need to install the Minecraft server manually. But hey, that's why I'm here today. We're going to get this sorted for you. Now, I'm going to be running this server on a Fasthosts VPS. So if you don't already have an active Linux server and you want to follow along this video exactly, check out the link in the description below. It's going to take you straight through to our VPS page and you'll be able to follow along right from where this video starts. So if you do want to purchase a Fasthosts server to do this, click on that link below. It's going to take you through to our VPS page. And right here, you're going to see a list of VPSs that you could use to host Minecraft. Now, which one you want to use depends on what you're going to do with the server. A vanilla server, for example, has less requirements than a modded server, which is going to be much more intensive. It also depends on how many people you're going to have on your server as well. The more people you have, then realistically, the more performance you're going to need. So just keep that in mind. For this video, I'm just going to go with a VPS 4 just because it's a nice middle ground. So the first thing we need to do is log into our new VPS so that we can start customizing it. So to do that, in the Fasthosts control panel, go to the VPS link on the left-hand side. That will open up a list of VPSs within your Fasthosts account, and within there, just click on that new VPS. That's then going to open up the VPS control panel. Click on your server again in that list, and it's going to show you more information about your server, including some login information. But how do we get logged in? Well, in my case, I'm going to use an SSH client called Putty. It's really easy to use. It's the one that I've used all the time. There are other SSH terminals out there if you want to use them, but for me, Putty's just the one that I'm used to. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, to get Putty installed really quickly, check out the links in the description below. I've got the Putty one marked there ready to go. Give that a click, install Putty, and you should be ready to follow along. Once you've opened Putty, you'll see this interface here. And what you need to do is put in the server IP address, because that is the host name for the server. So go to the Fasthosts control panel, copy that IP address for the server, come back into Putty and paste. Then click connect. Now, whilst it's connecting, you might get a pop-up saying that it's not recognized the server that you're trying to connect to. That's absolutely fine. That's because it's your first time connecting to your new server. So just accept and carry on. And then all you need to do is type in the username, which in this case is root, and then type in the password. Now, on the control panel, you can see there that we have a show password section. You can then show the password and just type that in, or you can click that little copy button to the right, go into your terminal, and then if you right click, that will then paste what is currently saved in your clipboard. So when you copy, that's in your clipboard, go into your terminal, right click, that's the same as doing Control V on a PC. And now you're into your Linux server. Once you see this screen, that means you're into your new server. So first thing that we need to do is make sure that everything is up to date and ready to go. So to do that, there are two commands that we need to use, apt update and apt upgrade. So what we can do here is actually connect the two commands together. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this really quickly. Type in apt update, and then type in two ampersands, so the and symbol, and then type in apt upgrade. Now what that's going to do is it's going to run both commands one after the other. Now before we hit enter, press space, and then type in -y. All that's doing there is basically saying that you are happy to confirm that you want to go through with these updates. If you didn't type that in, don't worry, all it's going to do is ask you if you want to confirm midway through the updates, which is fine, it's not a problem, but adding that -y just makes it a little bit nicer. Now, if you've never used Linux before, connecting commands with the double ampersands is actually quite an advanced thing to do. So congratulations, you're already probably past where a lot of people are to start with Linux. And don't worry, if you're a little bit confused about all that, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to fully understand what we're talking about, though it does help, because I'm just going to take you through every single command that you need to know to get this server up and running. So don't worry, you can always revisit this video if you ever need to do updates or you want to change the server or anything like that. So you're not on your own. Don't panic. Okay, now that's done, we now need to think about what user we're actually going to use to manage the Minecraft server. The user that you're currently logged in as is called root. Now, root is basically the owner user of everything. Root has all of the privileges, all of the permissions, everything, which is good, but it also means that it's actually a really big security risk to have applications running inside of root. The point is that if anything was able to get into your server through an application that was running under root, they could potentially take control of root, and at that point, you've lost your entire server. So what we're going to do instead is create a new user to run the Minecraft server within. We're going to type in add user. Don't worry about the space. The full command is add user with no space. And then type in the username for the user that you want to use to manage this server. In my case, I'm just going to call it Minecraft server. And then I'm going to hit enter. It's then going to ask you for a password. So just type in a strong password that you'll know. Confirm that. And then it's going to ask you for some more personal information about the account. Now, in this case, you don't have to put in anything if you don't want to. You can if you think you need to, but realistically, we're not using the server in the way that these bits of information actually apply. So that user is now created, and now we need to give it some permissions so that it can do the things we need it to do when it comes to the Minecraft server. So the command that we need to type in is usermod space dash lowercase a space dash uppercase G, and then the word sudo, so sudo, and then the username that you just entered in to be your server username, which again for me is Minecraft server. Essentially what we've done there is given the Minecraft server user sudo privileges. Sudo means super user do, and essentially we've given the Minecraft server user elevated permissions that it can then access when it needs to. Now that we've created this new user, we now need to log in as that user. All we need to do is type in the letters su space and then the new username. Hit enter and it will automatically log you into the server as this new user. So the first thing we need to figure out is, where are we in the server? Where are we currently located in our terminal? If you look to the left side, you'll see your username, and after that there'll be a destination. In some cases when you've done this, you might end up in the directory /root. We don't want to be in /root anymore because we aren't the root user, and we're not going to have permissions to do anything in this space. So instead, what we're going to do is type in cd for change directory, space, / and then home. So we're now going to be in the home directory. Let's type in the command ls for list, and that's going to show what's in our current directory. And you should see your username showing up in that directory. And we want to be inside that user. So let's type in cd space and then the username. Now you'll notice that when I started typing the username, it then autofilled. Now that's not happening automatically. What's happened is when I've typed in a few characters, I'm then hitting tab. Now what that does is it checks the characters that I typed in, matches it against something in my current directory, and then autofills based on the most relevant response. Just one of those nice little tips to know. Now the next thing that we need to do is make sure that we have the right version of Java installed on our server. And different versions of Minecraft need different versions of Java. So it's always important to check that when you're going ahead and following this step. Now, in our case, we're going to be using the latest version of Minecraft, but we still need to know what version of Java that links to. Now, a really easy way to figure this out is to go to Mojang's Minecraft server page. This is where you're going to be coming to install the server files, but they also have a tutorial document that you can access as well. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to be just taking you through a tutorial document in this video, but it is a really good place to find some relevant information, especially if you're getting stuck. So if you scroll through this page, we're looking for the section named Linux distributions. And this is because it's going to tell us how to install the right version of Java, depending on what distribution of Linux we're using. Now, in our case, we're using Ubuntu. So if we scroll down until we see Ubuntu, you'll see there that we have multiple versions of Java that we can install with those commands. Now we're using the latest version of Minecraft server, which means we need that top version of Java. So let's copy that command. Let's come back into our terminal, right click, which will then paste that copy, and then press enter. And now we're installing the right version of Java. Let's let that run through. And once it's done, we're now going to check that Screen is installed on our server. Screen is going to allow us to run the server in the background. And what I mean by that is, if you just ran the Minecraft server here in this instance and then closed your terminal session, it would turn off the Minecraft server. We don't want that. We want the server to be active all the time. So what we're going to do is use screen to essentially be able to minimize that session and leave it running in the background when we close our server terminal. To do that, all we need to do is type in apt install screen. In my case, screen was already installed, so it hasn't done anything. It's just shown that, there's no updates or anything like that, but it's always worth double checking to make sure. Once it's installed, type in screen and press enter. It's going to give you some splash pages just to kind of give you some information about what screen is and what it does. Press space to go through those. And once that's done, you'll then be effectively back in the terminal. The difference is we're now inside of a screen session. So we're essentially in another window, as it were, where we're operating separately to the main terminal. I know it's a little bit confusing, but don't worry, just treat everything as normal for now. And at the end of the video, once we've created the Minecraft server and we've got it running, I'll show you how you can detach the session so that everything keeps running when you've closed your server terminal. Okay, we're now at the point where we're going to install the Minecraft server file itself. So things are now getting quite exciting. Go back to the Mojang server page, and we want to right-click the link for install Minecraft server, and we want to copy link address. We're then going to go back into our terminal, and we're going to type in the command wget, so wget, space, and then right-click to paste that address. What we're doing with the wget command is essentially downloading whatever is at the end of that address, which in this case is the Minecraft server file. So press enter. That's now going to install the file. Once that's done, press ls to have a look at what's in your local directory, and you should see that there is a server.jar file. This is the Minecraft server file that we're going to run. Now, before we run anything, let's rename that file. Server.jar is not very specific. We're not going to know what version of Minecraft that is or anything like that, so we need to just organize things a little bit. Go back to the Mojang server page. Within that command, you'll see that there is a .jar file that is referenced, and that's the file that would be run when you actually enter in that command. We want to make sure that command works, so grab everything to do with that .jar file, copy it, come back into your terminal. Now type in the command mv, then space, and then type in server.jar, space, and then right-click. What we're doing here is using the move command to rename that server.jar file to the new Minecraft server version. That way, that command within the Mojang server page will now work. Once that's done, go back to the Mojang server page, grab that command, come into your terminal, right-click, hit enter. We're now running the server, but it is going to fail. That's not a problem. That's not a bad thing. The reason it's going to fail is because we need to accept the EULA before anything will continue. But this is always the first step of creating a Minecraft server, and this is going to now create the rest of the files that we need to actually make the server work. So with that in mind, we now need to fix the EULA issue, which is really simple to do. We're going to use a program called Nano. Nano is essentially a text editor, and it's going to allow us to open up that EULA.txt and just change the false in it to true to then allow the server to work. So all we need to do is type in nano, space, and then the file name, which in this case is eula.txt. Press enter, and it will now open up that document for you. And you can see there that it's indicating that this is the EULA. And if you want to proceed, you have to change the text from false to true. So just use your arrows on the keyboard, go down to where it says false, remove that, and type in the word true. Then press Ctrl O to write out the file to make sure it's saved, and then press Ctrl X. So that's now done. The file is now amended, and we can technically just start running a server right now. But before we proceed, let's maybe take a look at the server properties file as well. To do that, type in nano again, and then server.properties. Press enter, and we're now into the properties file, which is where you can actually go in and take a look at all the things that kind of make your server what it is. So for example, this is where you can change your game mode from survival to creative to adventure, etc. You can also change the difficulty on the server. And probably one of the more important things to take a look at is the port number. If you keep moving down on this page, you'll eventually see the server port area, and you'll see the numbers 25565. This is the default port for Minecraft to be able to communicate via the internet. And this means that in order to make sure the server works and is accessible, we then need to make sure this port is open within our firewall. But we will get onto that in a moment. Obviously, I haven't discussed everything in the server.properties file, and there are a few things that you can change in here, so I'd recommend taking a look at the Minecraft wiki to take a look at what you can change on your server, and that will give you an idea of what you can do and what you can't do. Now that we are out of the properties file, we now need to make sure that this server is going to be accessible. So that means looking at these ports. Now, the first thing we need to do is make sure that the firewall locally on the server allows for the port 25565 to be open. Now, it's worth noting you can change that port number. It doesn't have to be 25565. In that server.properties file, you could go ahead and change that number if you want to. You do this, for example, if you had multiple services running on the server and you wanted to differentiate them and you're already using 25565. If you haven't got anything else running, then you're absolutely fine to leave 25565 running on your server. So we now need to make sure that that port is open locally in the firewall. Now, we're on Ubuntu with this server, so that means that the default firewall software that should be installed is UFW. So let's make sure it's open. To do that, type sudo, then UFW, allow 25565. Press enter, and that will then indicate that port has been opened. And that's all you need to do locally. However, because we're hosting this server remotely, that means that there likely is a platform firewall we also need to take a look at as well. In our case, because we're using a Fasthosts server, we're going to go into our Fasthosts control panel for our VPS, and we're going to go back to that same page where we had all the login information. On the left-hand side, you'll see network is an option. Click on that, and then in the drop-down, click on firewall. That's then going to open up the firewall that's active for your server. So just click on that in the middle, and that's now then going to show you all of the rules that are currently active, and also gives you the interface to be able to add a new rule. So what we're going to do here is go down to the bottom, add new rule, and what we're going to do is type in 25565, and let's make sure that that drop down is set to TCP. In the description, give it a name that makes sense, so MC, TCP, or Minecraft server, something so you know what this is, and then click save. That's then going to update the platform firewall, and that then means that once that's done, your server is then fully accessible via 25565. Now for Minecraft Java, all we need is that rule as TCP. So once that's saved, once that spinning circle there has turned green, that means we are good to go. Of course, I've shown you how to do this on a Fasthosts server. If you're doing it on another remote server, then the steps might be slightly different, but the general gist is the same, that you need to make sure that the local firewall is open. And that should be the same process if you're using Ubuntu anyway, unless obviously the provider has a different image. And then you just need to make sure that if there is a platform firewall, that the 25565 is open on TCP as well. And that's it. We're now ready to go. Our Linux server is fully set up and ready to host our Minecraft server. So let's go back to the Mojang server page. Let's grab that command again. Let's come back into our SSH terminal and let's paste it. Now, before we hit enter this time, let's just take a quick look at that command. Essentially, we're running the .jar file, but we're doing it and allocating a certain amount of RAM, both initially, as in what it needs to start with, and then also what the maximum that it has access to is as well. And we can change that. So what we can do is in the XMX section, we can add in more RAM. Now, at the moment, it's showing 1 gig of RAM. So basically, in order to add another gig of RAM or 2, or however much you want to do, you just need to do the maths. Just double whatever number is in there. So 1024 times 2 is 2048, for example. That would be 2 gigs of RAM. So by doing this, you're giving the Minecraft server more capacity in terms of RAM, which means that if it needs to actually access more RAM, then it can do so. There are some limits on what you should allocate. You never want to be too high above what you're actually using, just because that can then cause problems in the Java software. But in most cases, 2-3 gigs of RAM should be absolutely fine, and you can escalate from there depending on how many people are joining your server. So we're done. Let's hit enter, let's run that command, and now our Minecraft server is building and ready to go. When we get to this page, we can now see that the server is done and it's ready for people to connect. Now, we talked about how this is running in a screen session. So let's take a look at how we minimize this so that the screen session will continue to run once the server terminal is closed. So to do this, all we need to do is press Control and A at the same time, and then press D. And what that will do is detach the current screen session. So it doesn't mean it's closed, it hasn't stopped anything, and that Minecraft server is still running. It just means it's not in front of us right now. Now, to reattach to that screen session, we need to find its ID, which we can do by typing screen space -ls. That's then going to list all of the active screen sessions, and our ID is that little number right there. Make sure you take note of that, just highlight in the terminal, and that's essentially copying. And then what we're going to do is type in screen space -r space, and then right click to paste that little number, or you can just type it out manually if you want to. Press enter, and you'll be back into your screen session. And again, if you want to get out of that again, just press Control A and then D. And there we go. We have an active screen session running a Minecraft server that's going to stay up 24/7. And you don't have to worry about leaving your terminal open. You can close it and that's it. It's ready to go. It's ready to be played. So let's test it out. Open up Minecraft, go into multiplayer, then add a new server. And what we need here is the IP address for our server. So go back to the Fasthosts control panel and grab that hostname value, the same one that we used to log into Putty with. Grab that, paste it into our server details section. What we then need to do is add a colon and then type in 25565. Obviously, if you change the port in the server properties file, then you just put in whatever port number you set it to. Then you should be able to connect to your server. Now, if all has gone well, you're currently running around your new Minecraft server, hopefully not already getting blown up by a creeper, but hey, it's Minecraft, who knows? Now, obviously, if you did have any issues getting this set up, then the best thing that you can do is go back through the video, double check each step, make sure you didn't miss anything. But what if you've got your vanilla server up and ready to go, but you're actually thinking, hey, I want to do modded Minecraft instead? Well, luckily for you, I've got another video all about how to set up your own modded server as well. So if you're interested, check it out.